Hi, it's Terry from My Secret Garden. And if anybody has been to our store, they know that we have some really cute evergreen gnomes out decorating the front of the store and by the back door. And we've had a lot of people interested in actually purchasing them, but they're easy to make. And I wanted to show you how to make that. So the first thing I'm going to get started is by making the hat. Now I have made the hats out of just regular old material, the ones at the store. This is the scrap of material. I just went to Joann's and bought yardage, sort of a flannelly felt. But I found this at the dollar store, and I want to make that snowflake the center of his hat. So I have also made their hats out of old sweaters, and it's really neat because you cut them and you make it so the top is a sleeve, and then you tie it and even put a pom-pom on the bottom so the sleeve hangs down long. But I really liked this with this here and the snowflake and wanted to make a hat out of that. Now, if you want to, you can sew the hat. I am going to use a glue gun, okay? So let me get started right here. And so you know that it's going to have to be, I want this to be my center. So I'm going to fold it so that I will then cut the shape so it is that, it's that peaked shape. So I'm just going to lay this out, cut it, flip it inside out, take my glue gun and glue it, and I will have my hat. Now for the mittens part of the gnome, you can either buy just some little kids' red mittens, which is the easiest way, or you can actually cut the mitten shape out of any kind of the material that you want. But okay, so I'm going to get started making the hat. Ow, who gets glue gun burns? All the time. And there we have our hat. So I'm gonna grab the hat, I'm gonna grab the mittens, and we're gonna go make our gnome, okay? Okay, so when I do this to make the gnome, you start with your base, which is a tomato cage, which normally goes in the ground like this. You turn it upside down, and you bring the three top together. And this is what I use. I use zip ties, or they're called tie wraps. They're called zip ties. And you zip tie this part right here. Yes, you're Spider-Man. Together. Oh. And zip tie them top together.
A Power Ranger.
And then I even take my hand and sort of bend these a little. It doesn't matter because the hat's going to go on there. So then you're ready to start by putting your branches. I like to use mixed greens. So we have a mix of pine and balsa and cedar. I think it just adds more interest, but you could do it in just one if you don't have the mixed green. I just bought the bundle of mixed green. So we're going to take the ties, the zip ties, right here. And I'm going to make a bundle of them.
Hello!
Okay.
Bye, Mom! Bye, Dad!
And I'm going to zip tie them to my frame. So I'm going to take the zip tie and I'm going to zip tie the branches in this right tight to the frame. Okay, so this is first layer. You want to do all the way around and with different ones, so you got a real heavy coverage. You don't have to worry about getting this part too much because this is where the hat's gonna go. Okay, so I'm gonna go for it. Okay, so you can see okay, so we made the hat. We greened up our tomato cage. You really don't need too many things to make these. I'm using kids' mittens. So what are you going to use for a nose? Well, you can use a Christmas ornament. That would be cute. You used a Christmas ornament that I covered with a hosiery stocking. You can use a hosiery stocking that you stuff with stuffing. Some people use a potato. So any variety of things. So our next thing, now that we have it all greened up, is to place our hat on. And we want to pick the prettiest side, and then we bring our hat down. Now, one thing, especially if you're in a windy area, I can't emphasize enough that you wire everything like you wire the hat in place. So, okay, so if we put this here, I am going to wire the nose in place, and I'm going to go through to the frame. And I'm going to wire it to the frame and to also a bunch of the branches that are zip tied to the frame. So I'm going to wire it good, especially like I say, if you're in windy areas, you want to take florist wire and poke it through and wire this hat right to the frame. And so the mittens, remember, mittens thumbs up. So let me find my wire. And
my monster. What?
Okay, so I am going to poke the wire right through this hat.
Send the wire?
And I'm going to wire this hat right to the greenery or the frame right below it. So even if it's really windy, it is not going anywhere. Green florist wire works the best to do this, but you might have to tip it on its side and reach inside to get it wired, but you need to wire it down.
Oh. Wow!
Okay, so I've got the hat wired good. What I like to do is to take some of the balsa and wire it and stick it right up there and make in the front so it looks like he has a beard.
A beard?
Yes, a beard.
Zoe! Actually,
And one thing that if you're someplace that's really windy, you can actually take a hot glue gun, put hot glue on these and hot glue them into place. But it looks like the balsa makes it look like he's got a fun shaggy beard. And then if those were hot glued in place, then he's got a nice full beard. So the last thing I need to do is mittens. And all I am doing is threading the wire through the mitten, back and forth, like this.
A bear! Granny.
Oh, a deer, yep. Okay. And then I'm just going to wire this right on. Remember, thumbs up.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to wire this right to the branches. And again, if you're someplace really windy, you're going to want to make sure that this is wired and secured good. One thing I did do is when I did my zip ties, if you noticed, I cut off all the tails, you know, as I went along. So then I have one more mitten to do. Okay, there we go. And my gnome is, few little adjustments, and my gnome is done. It was really easy. Anybody can do this. Where do you find the tomato pages? Scissors, wire cutters, either a sewing machine or hot glue. Very few things that you need, and you have the really cute gnome. And I'll show you how they look. Now, if you're going to put these on a pot, then you either have to stake them down good, or if it's a pot that is the resin or the hard plastic, what I did is, like out at the end of my driveway, what I'll show you, I actually drilled a hole in the pot and took tie wraps and tie wrapped this frame right to the pot. So it's not going anyplace no matter what kind of wind we get. Oh, you can add a flower, you could add a bow tie, you could add whatever you want. But that's basically, this is how it's done. Thanks, guys. Okay, so this is the gnomes that I put in the pots on the end of my driveway, and I just wanted to show you how I attach them so that the wind doesn't blow them away. I actually drilled holes in the pot and took tie wraps and tie wrap this frame right to it. Nobody sees that, and no matter how windy it is, they're not going to go anywhere. So they are on either side of my driveway as you come in. And so I actually got 2 hats out of that one Christmas cloth from the dollar store. So there you go. Thank you. Happy gnoming and have fun.